Good afternoon, and welcome to our first interview with a client. And we're here in the Rose Garden, and why not? Because I think the president has like a little interview in his Rose Garden, so why not have one right here? And it's the last day of May, and we have such a beautiful day, and I have the opportunity to talk about what process we go through when we are getting ready to start a logo. And I happen to have a wonderful client here today that volunteered to come in and talk about that process. And I met her at a conference, I think last April, and she is just a delight. I think her smile just lights up the whole room, and we made fast friends. And it wasn't long before we had decided that we would work on her logo. So I want to welcome Dr. Angela Tatum Fairfax, who's been in business since, I believe, 2000, but I'm going to let her come up and tell us all about her and what she does. Hi, thank you. So, Angela,
yes.
Do you remember when we met?
I do. We were at a conference. It was last April. I remember being drawn to you because I was like, wow, she looks so full of life. And I remember you sat right in front of me, and I was like, I'm going to make sure I get to talk to her before I leave. And you're absolutely right. It was such a delight to meet you and talk to you. And ever since then, we've been kind of, on each other and checking on each other and making sure, we're okay in business. And it's been a great business and personal relationship, I think.
Well, when you called me, you were in need of a logo.
Yes.
So I'm going to take you back a little bit. I happen to have your logo when you first came. Let's see, I'm going to pull out my little papers here. And this, we blew it up a little bit, but if you could come in, Justine is behind the camera today. So if you could focus in on this. It's a little bit bigger than a normal business card, but I wanted the audience to be able to kind of see it. And do you remember where we started?
Yes.
And this is where we always start. Sometimes people come to me and they're not this far along, but it's really a simple process, I think. And this is the back of the card, Justine, if you can kind of take a look at that too. It's full of information. Before we go to the next step, and actually it is one of the first steps in the interview process when we're working on a logo, is to actually ask the client what it is that they do. So could you give us a little insight to who you are, what you do, how long you've been in business?
Sure. I have been in business since 2000. I started my business actually when I was in my graduate school program, and it just came to me one day. I was like, okay, I'm getting my master's degree in therapy. I want to have my own business, and just in case, things don't work out, I don't find a job, because at that time things were actually just starting to get a little slow with finding a job. And so I was part-time in my business. It's called Good Fruit Expressive Arts. And I recently added the counseling and psychotherapy because people are like, what does that mean, Good Fruit Expressive Arts? And the name is actually biblically based because in the Bible it talks about people either being good fruit or bad fruit.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And so that's how the name of the business came to be. And so in 2001, I got my business license, got all my things together, and hung my little shingle out and said, my door's open to help people. And my big thing was I need to really be able to be in a position to help people because that's my passion. I believe that's my calling. And I'm the type of person that likes to marry things together. And so my undergrad degree is in psychology, but my master's degree is in dance movement therapy because I love psychology and dance. So I married those two things together. And so same thing's true for my life goal and my mission is I like to have my life goal and my mission be the same as my business goal and mission, and that's to heal and to support and to counsel and to guide.
And I think that's what really attracted me to you, is that you have such a passion to heal people. And I think it's just it's a wonderful town, and I was really pulled to you when you start talking about the dance therapy. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that was
Sure.
so intriguing.
Sure. Dance movement therapy is a form of psychotherapy that incorporates dance and movement, because a lot of times there are no words for the pain and the hurt and the trauma that we've been through in life. And so, but the body holds those memories. So whether it's tension in your neck and shoulders, or your back, or you get the butterflies, or sometimes it even manifests in the legs or the hips. And so dance movement therapy is a way to actually take all of those things that are hindering us from moving on or getting beyond the trauma, and to move it and dance it out, and to have that intimate. When you dance with somebody, that's kind of like an intimate kind of thing, and so that's a way to kind of have that intimate moment with that particular issue, and then to part ways.
I love it. I love it. I know that I probably have been using dance therapy and I just didn't know it. But when I'm really stressed out, I'm like cranking up the music and doing my thing just to relieve the tension. So I'm really excited, because I know that at some point I'll probably be using some of that therapy. What I'm really interested in is the meditation. Could you talk a little bit about that too?
Sure. I incorporate meditation into my dance movement therapy practice, because I believe being able to be still and to be quiet, to listen to the inner voice, is really important, to help you kind of really know what direction to go in, and it also serves as a release. My main point and my main focus in my business is stress management, because I believe that no matter what the issue is that people come to me with, the basis of it is not being able to really handle stress, to dismiss stress when it needs to be dismissed, because we're all going to have some level of stress.
Absolutely.
And so being able to minimize the stress is really the focus and the skills that I teach people. So meditation is part of that toolbox that I help people build, and journaling and creative writing, and I also do artwork with people.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And I know that there are people that you can help right now that are probably thinking that you are a doctor and they don't need a doctor and that kind of thing. What would you say to those folks who are a little bit apprehensive about seeing someone like yourself?
I would really encourage people to give me a call, or to give any mental health care practitioner a call, because it's really not about having a mental illness or mental disorder as much as it is about getting some relief from stress and the physical, mental, emotional, relationship issues, and having an objective person to talk to that doesn't know you, that's not biased, that's not just going to tell you what you want to hear, but will actually listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
Really give you some sound feedback and kind of make you think about things in a different way that you may not have thought about.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just to be there as a support.
Yes. And speaking of stress, sometimes when you're in business, like you and like me, we have a lot of little stressors that happen. And I think one of the things that I've learned in the past 6 years that I've been in business is that sometimes you have to reach out to people who are the experts. So I feel like the people who need that stress relief, you don't have to do it on your own. And the people who need to identify their brand, which is what we're here to talk about today too, not to do it on your own. There's so many options out there. And when Angela came to me, her card wasn't off the mark. Matter of fact, it already had everything that we needed to get started really quickly. And just to show you the next process, when we talked the first time, I have this little questionnaire that gets mailed or emailed to the client, and they fill it out and basically just ask some questions like color preferences. Do you remember what you told me there?
I do. I was really stuck on the black and the gold, and because I believe those colors are rich and they speak volumes, and they are actually at both ends of the spectrum of stress.
Yes.
Either you're in a bright and really, enriched place, or you're in a dark and lonely place. And so that was a continuum for me.
And she brought in a few samples for me to take a look at, and then from there we talked about the mission, which we just talked about. We talked about her goals, and her goals here that she wrote down was to keep those who help others define and create life balance through unique stress management systems. And she just talked about a few, and that's just the really the basic.
Right.
And it goes so much further in depth there. And her competition. You want to talk about the competition a little bit?
Sure. In my field of work in mental health care, there's so many layers. There's the psychiatrists, the nurse practitioners, the social workers, other counselors, other psychologists. And so while they are technically competition, not necessarily, because I believe that we all bring something unique to the table.
Absolutely.
And everybody has their own skill set, even though we may have degrees in the same line of work and we're helping the same population. That's what makes it a competitive field, because we're helping the same types of people.
So with that, usually I ask the client to give me a couple weeks and I'll put together some sketches, and then show them some options for their logo. So here I brought out our, and if you want to get up, Justine, and just kind of like come in on this a little bit, here were some of the options that we had in the beginning. Thank you, Angela.
Sure.
And you can just stay right on those for a minute. I'm going to ask Angela, when you first saw these, what did you think?
I was really excited. I was impressed. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to choose just one? And I was like kind of going back and forth with you. I remember saying, oh, well, can we take this from this one and add it to that one? And so we really were, piecing things together, because I loved everything and I wanted to take something from each of the creations that you did with your illustration of the vision. And the illustration of the vision was just like, wow, it just popped right off the page, because it was like dead on exactly what.
And then I do the happy dance when that happens. I was so excited. You know what I forgot to show you too is just to let people know that it doesn't just go right here, but even before that I have like these little thumbnails that I work through to get the ideas. So you can kind of see that. And sometimes, and I'm sure that I have more, and I have probably 100 tablets throughout the studio of little sketches. So what we ended up with, you want to kind of tell the audience what you ended up doing here? Do you remember?
I do.
I'll take this from you.
And so what we ended up doing is, I really loved, the theme was the apple, because of Good Fruit Expressive Arts, and we talk about apples being so healthy and plentiful, and so I wanted to keep the apple as the primary logo focus. But then I also love the mosaic piece of it, because I feel like part of my calling and part of my work is to help people put the pieces back together.
And that just, boom, that resonated big time.
So that really, popped through on the illustration. And so I wanted to make sure that we kept that. But then there was a photo that I had of myself dancing that Era picked up on. And she was like, I think I'm going to go with, I love the photo of you dancing. And she really did a great job of the illustration and adding some depth to it and some richness to it. And so I really love how it all came together with the mosaic apple, and then with my photo here to really encompass the message of Good Fruit with the apple, and then expressive arts with the dance portion of it, and then the counseling and psychotherapy to give it a little bit more clarity about what it is I actually do.
So from there, we did exactly what she asked, and basically I took the mosaic and I took the font that we wanted and married those together. So, and here is how this turned out. Did I not get it off the printer? I don't think I got it off the printer. So you're gonna have to come in real close. Let me put it on the white background here, and that should bring it in. So here is the actual logo. I'm going to get my big thumb out of the way. So that's the front, and as you can see, each one of these little tiles are an individual piece. So it's a true mosaic of that golden apple. And it's just, to me, I think it's one of my better pieces. So I just totally enjoyed working on this. And this is the back of the card. So just to remind you, this is where we started, and this is where we ended. So I'm going to bring that right back on top. And then from there, I'm going to, if I could talk a little bit about the packages that we have now. We name them all after artists. And when Angela came into the office, she's like, I don't see anything here that I really need. And what did you say? What was it that you were looking for?
I really wanted my package to include the business card and logo, which was the initial piece, but then I also felt like I wanted bookmarks and note cards because I don't really write a lot of letters, and so I really didn't need stationery. And I don't remember what the other option was, but I know I wanted the note cards because I saw a sample that you had, which is beautiful. I was like, wow, I really love that. So if I ever need to write anything to somebody, I thought that would give it a special touch to have the note card. But then the bookmark, I love your bookmarks, and I have like 6 of them or 10 of them or something. I was like, I want bookmarks too.
So I'm going to let you kind of hold that bookmark, and I'll get out the note cards.
Okay. So this was really fun for me to have this because I love how it all flowed together, and all the information is right there. And then the special treat. Shall I talk about the special treat on the bookmark?
Oh, I want you to actually.
Then Era called me and said, well, okay, we're going to put all the business and professional information on one side. What do you want on the other side? Do you have a favorite poem or something that you've written that could go, on the back? And I was like, well, I do write poetry, and I haven't written anything for some time, but I'll go back through my book of poems and see if, I have something that's appropriate for this particular project. And I came upon one that I called Dancing. I was like, oh, I guess, this will do. And, because it's expressive, it's about dancing, which, is, part of my core work as being a dance movement therapist. So I sent it in, and Eric called me right away. She's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
When I saw the email, literally, she sent this poem over in the email, and I went, I was just, it took my breath away. It seriously, I was like, how perfect is this? It just came together. It was just so much good energy going into this project. And when that poem came over, I'm like, I think we really need to even take it even further. That'll be another session. But today, would you be kind enough to read that poem to us?
Sure, love to. The title of the poem is Dancing. Let go of inhibition. Close your eyes. Use the image in your mind as a guide. Contact the child within. Once you allow yourself to relax, you can totally surrender, be free, and get delivered. Move every part of your body to your natural rhythm. Embrace your spiritual and physical being. Listen to the sounds around you. Be healed, be renewed, be refreshed. Dancing is easy when you remove expectation and dance to the music of your soul.
I'm telling you, that just brings a tear to my eye because I just love it so much.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. And were you able to get a close-up of how the image looks, Justine, on the back with her in the background? And then I'm going to flip it over. And you can see the beautiful logo up on the top and her beautiful little photograph. And then what will you use this for?
The bookmarks, I really wanted to have a beautiful giveaway to my clients and when I do speaking engagements, and just to remind people that, you know, even though we have all this technology, you know, for me, I still like to actually read the book and turn the pages. And so to really get people into reading, and then also just remind people that, you know, I'm here to listen. I'm here, you know, to be a creative spiritual guide in a sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now I want you to kind of take a look at this. This is the envelope that we chose together, and that was even a hard process because there were a lot of beautiful metallic envelopes out there. And then this is the pretty note card with the logo and Angela in the background. And then when you open it up, there's the quote from the poem right up here. And then this is blank so that she can fill that out for her clients and people that she meets. And on the back is her own personal brand. We don't need the Hallmark card here, do we?
And not at all.
We have our own Hallmark, and that's what I want to remind people, that you need to be original. I mean, there's no need to go out and get a Hallmark card or any other card. I love Hallmark, don't listen to me there. They're a wonderful company, but wouldn't it be nice to actually have your originality on the things that represent you the best? And just to top it off, just like Hallmark does, when you go there, they give you the gold seal. We give you the gold apple. So that kind of goes right there. And it comes off, it's like a little sticky and it's clear. And this is all foiled. So if you can come up there, Justine, and take a little image. I had it upside down. Here we go. So each card will be personally sealed this way. And what a special touch that is for your client. And to sort of like end this little interview that we have, I want you to pan out and check this out. This is the newest addition to Good Fruit Expressive Arts, is their own banner. And we talked about this in the car one day.
Right.
And I asked her if she had a banner that she could use so that when she's either doing a presentation or she's sponsoring an event, that this can be easily tucked away into a little mailer, and they can hang it for her, or she can tuck it under her arm and take it with her wherever she goes. But I think it turned out really nice. And it's really easy to hang. Justine and I hung that today. And the reason why I wanted to have this interview here in the Rose Garden is because, if you recall, we had that really terrible storm. Sandy came through here and knocked this whole rose bush down. It was on the ground. And if you check out my blog, I'm sure you've read that it took 3 hours for my husband and I to tie it back up. He wasn't so thrilled with the idea because he thought that he was going to cut it down, and I'm like, no, because this rose bush is like over 20 years old. It was given to me by my son, and I think it's just a beautiful. It's the best symbol for what we're talking about today, that or any day, is that, you know, you get knocked down and it looks like nothing's going to happen. You're going to have somebody come in and help you. Next thing you know, you're back on your feet. And this rose bush is like the perfect example. I mean, it literally had nothing. I mean, and now it's just in its full glory, and I just appreciate having that living thing come back to life like that. And I thought that would be the perfect backdrop for Good Fruit Expressive Arts.
Oh, thank you. I'm really honored, and I really thank you for inviting me here today, because you made the process so easy for me, and it was professionally done, and I think we had a lot of fun, you know, in the creative process of things, because I'm a creative person, and obviously you're a creative person, so to be able to work together and collaborate and really come up with, you know, my brand, I'm really grateful to you for everything that you've done.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, and I appreciate you too. And it really is a community when you're in business. I think that we each bring our own personal mission, our purpose in life, and then when we collaborate and we let each one work in their strength, it always is going to work out the best. So
Sure.
I just thank you. And we said we're going to do this in one take, and I believe we did. So just thank you out there, everyone. And if you have any questions about what we've talked about today, if you'd like to find out more about Angela, as you can see right up here, goodfruitexpressivearts.com, you will find everything you need to know. Just give her a call. Or if you'd like to know more about building your brand, of course, eraillustrated.com. Or you can call us at 302-834-5086. And we just thank you and have a beautiful day.